Hello, today I'm talking about Edison, New Jersey by Junot Diaz. So, a little bit about the author himself. Diaz was born in Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. Here are some pictures. When he was around 10 years old, he moved to central New Jersey. Because of this, New Jersey is a reoccurring setting for most of his works. Diaz got his bachelor's degree from Rutgers University in New Jersey, and he also got his master's degree from Cornell University in Ithaca. Currently, he teaches creative writing courses at MIT. While he's also in the academic world, he's also in the activist world. One of the organizations he heavily stands with is called the Freedom University, which is heavily concentrated in immigration reforms for undocumented immigrants. In his free time, he also writes for the Boston Review. So some of his lesser known works are called This Is How You Lose Her, and he even wrote a children's book called Island Born, in which a young girl moves to the US and remembers her experience in her own homeland through stories told by her family. There's also Drown, which is a collection of short stories. And by far the most popular work of Diaz's is The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde, which I got the opportunity to read in my multi-ethnic and diasporic literature course here at New Paltz. While this book heavily deals with diaspora should be defined for people that don't know it. Diaspora is the dispersion of people from their original homeland, and this happens through many different cultures. So, one literary critic once said that Diaz's representation of the diasporic experience escapes the traditional accounts of the diaspora, in which the story turns the yet existing feelings of alienation, doubleness, and identity fragmentation that arises in post colonial and diasporic representations of identity into a major strength of the transnational identity that is already in the making. Instead, he presents it as a tough, though eventually positive, supportive, and learning process in the United States. While I don't fully agree with this, I do see how this can resonate with some readers. So, like I said, diaspora is a humongous theme throughout this novel. Oscar Wilde himself was born in the Dominican Republic and moved to New Jersey with his family, as well as his college roommate, Junior. Junior is also a reoccurring character to remember. Junior is kind of a resemblance of hypermasculinity and the hypermasculinity of Dominican men, and he also kind of represents toxic masculinity. He tries to coach Oscar Wilde, who's more of a nerdy, like non-Dominican man, as Junior would consider. He tries to coach him to find love and essentially lose his virginity. And through this, we see these overall hypermasculine and toxic masculine themes. And this is a sign that says El Machismo Mata. Sorry for my horrible Spanish. I never took it. But this essentially means machismo kills. And not to spoil the ending, cover your ears if you'd like to read the book. But in the end, and which is given away by the title, The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde, the machismo eventually does kill Oscar Wilde as he kind of succumbs to this hypermasculinity of Dominican men. He does eventually get killed. So on to Edison, New Jersey, the short story that I'm focusing on. Shepard, a professor at Williams College, says Junot Diaz's Edison, New Jersey seems to be about issues of race. Turns out to reveal those issues to be intricately bound in, if not defined by, issues of class. And given that the protagonist is a young male, those issues of class turns out to be bound up in his most intimate sense of how he defines himself. And that, of course, has to do with his own sexual power. So here, Shepard kind of recognizes the intersectional themes in Edison, New Jersey, having to be race, class, and hypermasculinity, which is the common themes of all of Diaz's works so far. So this is a little off topic, but I thought it had to do with the kind of overall plot of the story being a Dominican man as a delivery driver going into upper class neighborhoods and delivering to predominantly white towns. This is a real life situation where a white man was photographing and taking pictures of a black delivery driver in San Francisco, simply doing his job, assuming him of criminal activity. This really resonates with the overall story in which Junior, the main character again of Edison, New Jersey, feels discriminated against, watched, and looked down on by the upper class people that he delivers luxury pool tables to. So in the story, it says sometimes the customers has to jet to the store for cat food or a newspaper while we're in the middle of the job. I'm sure you'll be all right, they say. They never sound too sure. Of course, I say. Just show us where the silver's at. The customers haha and we haha, and then they agonize over leaving, linger by the front door, trying to memorize everything they own, as if they don't know where to find us, who we work for. So as we can see in this quote and throughout the whole story, Diaz has cutting edge humor while describing very serious situations. He does this through dialogue, through description. He knows exactly how to say things in a very humorous and ironic way. And I even saw this in The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde. He pulled in a lot of pop culture references that could be relevant to Dominican people. And he's just very almost vulgar and very humorous. Another overall theme of the story is the hyper masculinity, and this comes through when he's delivering a luxury pool table to one of his customers. He falls in love with their maid, who turns out to be of Dominican descent. She tries to escape this upper class white town by begging him to give her a ride back to Washington Heights, where she is from, which happens to be a highly Dominican area. And he eventually does give her the ride back to her original town. And in this way, I kind of thought of it as a mini representation of diaspora, in which the maid is stuck in a white upper class town that does not resonate with her and does not welcome her at all. And she is brought back to Washington Heights, where she is originally from and where her culture is